Hi, I'm Teresa Lisum, and I'm with my guest co-host today, Cindy Berg. Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
We're evolving women. I'm evolving, you're evolving, we're all evolving. So let's help each other to evolve. So our intention with this episode today is to fill the world with uplifting messages, new perspectives, tools, resources, wellness ideas, mindset ideas, more about believing in ourselves. And we're here to give you permission to be your best self and live your best life. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. Have you ever stuck with a New Year's resolution? Well, we're going to explore that topic. I'm Teresa Lisum. This is my fabulous guest co-host, Cindy Berg. Welcome, Cindy. Woo. So glad you're here. Have you ever stuck with a New Year's resolution? Let me ask you that.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I had more fun making them than trying to do them. I used to have a whole ritual around making the New Year's resolution. I would sit in a nice bathtub with a glass of
Mm.
champagne and my
Mm.
list from the previous year, and I'd look at all the things I hadn't done, and then I'd look at all the things that I wanted to do. Yeah, it was a nice evening, listening to jazz music, but no, for some reason it didn't work for me, and I figured out why.
Right.
Um, I had a lot of ideas, but I never put a plan into action.
Mm.
I wished for a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
but resolutions aren't wishes.
You're right. And there has to be actions
And if
behind
you
those
want,
wishes. You know?
if you want to accomplish results, you have to put a
Yes.
plan in place,
Yes. And
and
and take the steps.
and you
Yes.
and you cannot necessarily include other people in your plans without their consent.
That that qualifier without their consent. Yeah, that's a very good point. But even irregardless of, you know, bringing other people in without their consent, many people create those resolutions because that's a thing to do, at the beginning of the
Ah,
year
hmm.
is make a resolution or a series of them
Yeah, I'm gonna have
and
a
put them into place. And
boyfriend and
yeah,
getting a
and
promotion.
yeah, and they go into the new year with great intentions and great hope and great, expectations. And then how long do they actually last in their efforts?
Well,
Like, mm,
one thing many people fail to take into account is that we already have full lives.
mm-hmm,
And to add more things into our life requires that we weed some things out of our lives.
true.
And there are probably old conditions that are holding us back that we need to let go of.
Yeah,
What
to make space, make room for the
we
new.
do,
Yeah.
we have to make space for the new,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of my shopping things too, is that if I'm bringing new things in the house, I have to be moving things out at
Yes,
the same
yes,
rate,
yes.
right?
You're exactly right.
Otherwise, I'm not going to have space for new stuff. But it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing in your life. If I'm going to be working out at the gym, I have to make time in my schedule to be working out at the gym. I don't
Mm-hmm.
magically find that hour every night to do that
Right.
unless I stop watching TV for an hour or stop
Mm-hmm.
reading for an hour or stay up an hour later every night. There's got to be um, there's got to be some place where that time comes from.
Right. And I shared a story with you about, a person who wanted to go to the gym and change their body and, create better health for themselves. And so he was like, his resolution was to go to the gym. Let's just say some extreme case, 3 hours a day, every day of the
Okay.
week, blah, blah, blah. So he did it for, I don't know, like a week, maybe 2, 3 weeks, but then he just ran out of steam. He couldn't keep
Mm,
up that pace.
yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with resolutions at any point in the year, but it's really prevalent at the beginning of the year. But I think we gotta do something more realistic. Like you said, weed something out so you can bring something in. And I'm a big believer in baby steps,
Oh,
like baby step, create these little habits that
mhm.
maybe even you can layer and stack on top of each other. But if you want to go to the gym, you don't want to start off with 5 days in a row of 3 hours a day. You start with maybe 15 minutes or, doing something at the house and then working your way to the gym,
Mm.
to work out and then work yourself up to that bigger chunk of time and
Very
that bigger effort.
rational.
Yeah, that's how I approach a lot of things. Just
I've got a saying you might like.
yeah.
Small hinges swing big doors.
Oh, I like that. That
I
is
knew
a
you
good one.
would.
That is a
Yeah,
very good
but
one.
you're absolutely right. If you take small behaviors, you can make big changes over time,
Oh
and you're
yeah.
more likely to stay with them.
Yes, yes, because they're more doable
Yeah.
and you create those habits, those positive habits, and that leads to other positive habits that you want to incorporate. So it's almost like a domino effect, but pacing ourselves, I think, is important. So, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody fails at their New Year's resolutions, but it just seems like a lot of people go in the new year with good intentions, and then it's just impossible for them to keep and sustain. And
Well,
then I'm guessing, because I've done this, you kind of feel like a failure, like
sure.
you feel bad about yourself because you didn't achieve this really lofty
Yeah.
set of
What,
goals or
why
resolutions.
do I even bother?
Yeah, exactly.
But
Exactly.
but if you start with something smaller, then you
Hmm.
can celebrate those wins.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate those little wins, and those little wins accumulate and help you feel better about yourself
And
so that
before
you
you know
can
it,
go for
you've
the
got
bigger things.
big wins.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and speaking of health, they say it is far better to have many smaller wins than go for the bigger wins anyway. Losing a pound
Hmm.
every 2 weeks
Yeah.
is much more sustainable over long term
Hmm.
than 2 or 3 pounds. So
Right.
it's much healthier, it's much more sustainable, and it's much less likely that you'll resent what what you're trying
Hmm.
to do for
Hmm.
yourself.
Right. Um, and I want to ask you too about like a lot of people pick a word for their year. So it's not quite a resolution
Hmm.
or a set of resolutions, but it's like a power word that is like their guiding light for the year. And some people I've heard have really profound experiences when they resonate with a word and they revisit it and keep it in their awareness the entire year. And some some in a positive way, and some are like, oh, I should not have picked that word because it really came into my life in a way that I wasn't expecting. And then other people, like I've had mixed feelings around picking a word for the year. For me, it's more doable than making resolutions. I'd rather pick a word than list out some resolutions that I might not stick to. So what's your
You,
thoughts around that?
you know what? I really tried to do the word thing last year. I really did. I actually had 3 words, and I remember one of them now was elevate. But it didn't work for me. And probably telling is that I don't remember my words anymore. But
Right.
part of it is that I think just a couple words is limiting, um, for me
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but because I get really esoteric. Uh, but
Yes.
and that's kind of just me. But the other thing too is resolutions are almost too specific for me as
Mm,
well. Because I like to have flexibility to move. I have goals, I do,
mm-hmm,
but my goals are not overly narrow focused.
mm,
Um, I've had uh, a lot more success with vision boards.
mm.
So ha have,
I'd love
ha
to hear your successes with vision boards. I love vision board creation. I actually tried a different way last year based on somebody I was following. And I'm looking at my vision board right now. I actually have two of them and I love them. So I've made them many, many times in different
Mhm.
ways over the years. In terms of successes, has been mixed, but I know many people that have had fantastic results come into their lives because of those vision boards. So I'd love to hear your experience with them.
Um, I have been doing vision boards for 4 years now. I took a class with a lady online, and it was fabulous. It was a week-long class, like 2 hours
Mm,
a day,
wow.
and and I ended up teaching it
Mm,
last year and the year before with the group I was with. And I do it every year, and I have had quite a bit of success. Um, not necessarily in every single area of my vision board.
mm-hmm,
I create areas of focus,
mm-hmm,
uh,
mm-hmm,
but in general areas and in specific items that I have absolutely manifested specific
mm-hmm.
items of my board. And I went, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but
I've heard other people do that. Like, I don't know if it was Jack Canfield or one of those thought leaders that are very famous. I don't know. I don't think that's the right gentleman, but he gives the story that he had made these vision boards and he was moving to a new house. So he packed up everything, the typical things you need to do to move. And when he got to the new house, he was unpacking things and he found this old vision board
mm,
and he found that the house he was in was on his vision board.
ah,
Like, and he didn't even realize it till
mhm,
he happened to find that. So, so very powerful things. Like I said, I have friends that beautiful things happen for them
mhm.
because of their vision board. Now, let me ask you this. When you have your vision board, do you look at them and have them in your awareness and focus your attention on them on a regular basis?
I obsess about them for the first couple months of the year.
Oh, obsess.
Yeah, I keep them very close, and
Uh-huh.
I look at them, but I take a great deal of time selecting images and
Mm-hmm.
colors and words.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
not something I slap together.
Right. Right.
It's something I do over, I probably take about 5 or 6 weeks to do it.
Wow.
And I'm very careful about, putting it together just so.
Mm-hmm.
And I focus on areas.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like 4 or 5 areas I work on, and and images, and I use a combination of colors and words
Yeah,
and
me too.
magazine pictures and photographs, and I use just any media I can get.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I use a big 16 by 24
The big
uh
poster board, yeah.
big poster board. Uh
Mm-hmm.
and uh and and I put it together so that I'm satisfied, and then I will wander past it like every day. And I even take it up to my summer home with me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it comes with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
That's very cool. So you have a personal connection with it. You're energetically
absolutely.
connected to it.
But it's also connected to my values. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I think a lot of people fail. And that's why I think a lot of people are unhappy with their lives, is because they're not living within their values
Or
also,
with intention.
or with intention.
With
Yeah.
intention, a lot of people move through their lives with just like in a default mode reacting to whatever's happening instead of proactively setting intentions or pre-paving what they want to come into their life. So I think a vision board gives you time to reflect and think about, what is it I really want? What is it I value? What are the experiences that I want to experience in my life?
Well,
And
it's very much like when you were a kid. I don't know about your parents, but my parents said, you know, you're known by the company you keep. And when I'm doing my vision board, it's the same thing. This is my
mm,
life. This is the
mm,
company I'm keeping.
love that.
And it's the legacy I'm leaving at this point in
Mm-hmm,
my life too. So this is my whole thought process. This is my life. This is my legacy. And
love it.
is it what I want? Is it what
Mm-hmm,
I want out in the universe? Is this consistent with me?
mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. And I like that you take the time. I did that this past year where I took, there were steps to follow, there were thoughts and intentions, and it was a very planned out, introspective, over time process. So, like you said, at the end of the week or 5 days or whatever it was, you had something of substance. Whereas previous to that, it was like a couple hour thing, looked at some photos, got some words, and kind of threw it together, not in a haphazard way. I still put thought into it, but I
Mhm,
liked like making it last multiple days, which allowed me to think more
mhm.
about what I really wanted. So I think I got to keep mine because I really like it, and I don't want to let go of what I created last year. I don't think there's a lot of
Mhm.
good stuff on there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and there's a billion ways to make vision boards. You do a
No,
Google search
absolutely.
on vision boards, you're going to get all kinds of different ways of doing it.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't have to be complicated, don't make it a stressful situation. It's something that you want to look forward to and get excitement. And it's really fun in a group. I think I've done it with a group of people. That's always
Mm,
fun because you're sharing their vision and,
mhm.
taking pieces of their vision and maybe, working with it for yourself. So I did love doing it with a group. It's a lot of creativity, I think, was generated.
Mhm.
And I do want to throw out like the power of words, like we already said, with picking a word for the year. Words
Right.
have power, words have energy, words
Absolutely.
can be magical. So if you are going to do a vision board, be careful of the words you put on there because you're putting out to the universe the power and the energy of those words.
And it goes without saying, be careful what you ask for
Yes.
because
Yes.
you just may get it.
Yes, that's what I like. That's what I've heard when people pick certain words for their year, like, oh, that's not what I
Patience,
thought. Yes.
yes. Be
So
careful if you ask for patience.
yeah, yes, that is one example I've heard in the past from somebody. Like, oh yeah, they were really tested for, in their patience, but lots of things to start the new year with. Vision boards, words, resolutions, goals, whatever you want. Pick something that resonates with you
Mhm.
and that is going to be enjoyable, not another thing you have to get done.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, by all means, it should be fun and it should be
Yeah.
inspirational. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
make mine colorful. And
Mm-hmm.
God, get out the crayons and the
Yes. Yes. Let your little
markers.
kid come out and your
Absolutely.
creativity and
Finger
just,
paint.
yes, and just see what happens.
Yeah.
And and do it though. I know I've
Yeah.
with some people that we were doing it last year as a group, and some of us got them done and some of us did not. And, when I saw them a little bit ago, they're like, oh, we never did do them. So I would invite you to make a commitment to yourself if you're going to do a resolution, if you're going to do pick a word, if you're going to
Mhm.
do a vision board, then commit to yourself
Mhm.
that you're going to do it and do it. And if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Right.
But don't commit and then kind
Don't
of,
do it.
yeah, and then
Don't
don't do it.
sabotage yourself.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a really good way of saying it. Just commit to yourself and do it, and you'll feel proud of yourself as well. You know, do everything we can to allow ourselves to feel good
Right.
instead of bad. So lots of good, juicy things that we just shared. I hope everybody viewing was able to pick up something that they could go forward with on their own. So we want to wish, oh, and one more thing, you don't have to limit it to the beginning of the year.
No, you can do it
You
anytime.
can do these things anytime. Every day is a new start.
Absolutely. And you know what? If you have a partner, you can do it with your partner. I have a friend who does it with her spouse. And every year on actually they do it on a business quarter. They're also business partners, but they do it together.
Oh, that's beautiful. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Do it as a family, do it with your kids, do it with your grandkids.
Yeah.
How, I mean, just imagine the conversations around that. That in and of itself would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, ooh, so many things to do. So thank you so much, Cindy. It's been a delight talking to you about this. And thank you to everybody who has tuned in. We hope we've given you some inspiration to try some of these things on your own. So thank you so much. We love you. We'll see you at the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There we go.